So today we're going to be talking about money, straightforward, because I feel like in the UK, people just don't like to talk about money. It's like the taboo. It's like nobody wants to it's that awkward question, what do you earn or what do you do? But at the end of the day, everything costs something, doesn't it, Curtis?
Yeah, I love asking that question, but never answering it to anybody.
That's because you don't know the answers to the question.
Yeah. That is very true, AJ, actually. Wes, how you doing, though? How are you today? How's everything?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
What would you describe your role as? So we are here sat in this gorgeous office, in this gorgeous building at Iron Market. What are you? You're a wealth manager. You manage money fundamentally.
Yeah, and I think wealth management is a bit of a incorrectly an overused phrase in our profession, industry, trade, whatever you want to call it. Because I think a lot of essentially what a true wealth manager is, as I would define it, is somebody that provides advice, financial advisor, financial planning, but also has those special permissions, which means they can build and manage and discretionally manage clients' assets in their portfolios. And that's what wealth management should be reserved for. But in the UK, it gets thrown around.
Yeah, I think it's really important you said that because like money managing in one aspect, just money is one thing. But I've invested with you now. I was just trying to do the maths really quick in my head for nearly 6-8 years.
Something like that, I think so.
Wow, is that a long now?
Yeah, I should know too. But
Anyway, a long time. And
Roughly around about that.
And if you
someone upstairs will definitely know.
Somebody upstairs will know. It's wrote down somewhere.
And I have for about, must be 3 years now.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I remember very vividly is coming and sitting down with you, and the first thing that we went through before anything talking about money was about risk.
Yeah.
It was about like what risk do you feel comfortable and what are your priorities? What do you want in your life? Like, do you want to work towards building a deposit for a house? Do you want to work towards, or what is your career in the future? And pensions, even though I was 21, we spoke about pensions and how we can offset that for tax purposes. Absolutely. So it was never just about managing the money. And the one thing that I do love that's staring at me on the wall right here, not everything that counts can be counted. Talk to me about that phrase itself.
Yeah, that's literally it. I think that you'll find a lot in our profession. It's always around money, and if you're managing assets, it's around performance and markets. Again, really interesting, really important. Or if it's financial advice, it's you need to put this amount in to build this pot, and we don't start there. They're mechanisms. We start very much at the point of what you're looking, what's important to you. What do you want to do? What do you want to do now? What do you want to do later on? What does that look like? What does it feel like? If it's retirement or it's something different, because that word isn't used a great deal these days. What does it actually feel like? What does it look like? Can you imagine it? Can you picture it? And then work back from there. And actually the things like, you mentioned the word pension, but things like pensions and things like investments are mechanisms to help you achieve what you want to achieve from the age you are now until you leave this mortal coil at 90, 100, 80, whatever it is, depending on how well you live. And anything you may need money for during that period of time.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely the core of what we do. And that's why it's our starting point, as opposed to, do the investing, do the money, and let's see what happens at the end.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one thing we'll talk about this later on in more depth, but like you're 10 years in Iron Market itself, but what qualifications have you had to kind of get to this stage, or where did you start? What happens like you managing people's hard-earned money for the whole of their life. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of trust that's put in you. Like, what qualifications do you have and your experience to kind of get to the stage that you are now?
Yeah, so there are. I didn't kind of go through the education system with this in mind necessarily. Like most, did a degree. I was the first in our family to go to university. I did a degree based on the subjects I was half good at school, let's face it. But coming out of that, world of work, what do we do? I didn't necessarily fall into it, but with a graduate position at a bank, looked at the different options that were available, really liked the idea of advice and investments.
Did you always enjoy it though?
Always been interested in it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when that opportunity came, I thought, do you know what? I like that. I'll give that a go. And then that meant getting qualified. And back then, which is longer than I'd like to admit to, we needed to do a series of 3 exams. And back then, I would not do this now. And the guys have like 12 months to do these things. We did 3 exams in 4 weeks. To get qualified on a really intensive course.
3 exams and I mean that's
That's
intense.
absolutely horrible.
How many
that
books
sounds,
is that?
yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
a lot. Really.
and the,
Yeah.
like this.
Proper
Yeah,
books.
absolutely. Yeah, big things. So we did that, which was FPCs back then. But essentially now, in order to advise from a financial advice perspective, it's a level 4 diploma that you need to get to with various institutions. You can do that over kind of a 12-month period, which is some exam based, some coursework based, and then the additional. What I've tended to do then, since I started the business, is always looked at where do I think I can add more value to our clients, or as we call them, members. And then I've gone out and got additional qualifications that have then enabled me to add more value. So, for example, the investment management, the discretionary management, is an additional permission you need from the regulator, but also additional qualification you need as an individual.
And I know you spoke about that a couple of seconds ago, but what does that mean? That means that you can actually go into their accounts and do stuff for them fundamentally.
Yeah, effectively, we have, you mentioned the word trust, and never take that light.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of trust. And I guess that trust is matched by expertise and track record, I'd like to say too. But I think, in terms of what that actually means, is that a client's assets that we manage, their portfolio, say, we're able to manage that discretionally. So without asking for permission to make changes, if we see a piece of macro data or a data point that we want to act on, I don't know, might be moving overweight in emerging markets or somewhere different or something else or a theme, then we're able to do that without necessarily getting their permission or asking them or saying, we think this is the right thing to do, is okay to do. We go ahead and do that. And I think if you're managing assets and you're looking after assets and you're trying to tie an investment portfolio to, or strategy to a financial planning outcome, i.e. what they want to achieve in their life, I think to have the discretion to do that gives you the best chance of giving them the best outcome.
Well, time is money sometimes, isn't it? You have to jump on the market straight away. If
you can do, yeah. I mean, we never try and time the market, but ultimately, if we have that trust, and if we have to, I just think if you have that trust, what's the best use of that trust? And the best use of that trust is to manage those assets discretionally, because you're in it all day, every day. If our clients are in the most part successful business owners, if you're, for example, if you guys are away doing a job, you want to know that we're managing your assets daily anyway. And if we're able to do that, we're able to act.
Especially over these past couple of years when
exactly right.
Life's been
you
unique.
plan for everything, and the
absolutely.
one thing that you can't plan for, well, two of them happened: a
Global
global
lockdown.
pandemic and fundamentally World War III in one sector of the world.
Absolutely, yeah, correct. Yeah, last year is a phenomenal example. I mean, we would order, although we do have discretion, we have a very, very tight and strict process in terms of how we manage assets. But within that, we do have discretion. We want to use that where appropriate, and we normally use a quarter as a time to gather data, gather market trends, and see where things are moving before we perhaps make changes to our strategies. Mm-hmm. Last year was not that. So if we look at things in quarters, you'd probably make 4 changes a year. Roughly. Last year we made 8.
Yeah.
So twice,
a lot of sweating
the
and
amount.
a lot of stress.
But I think again that comes from 2 parts. One is the environment demanded it. Yeah. I think, and secondly, it's that trust thing. We do not take that trust lightly. It's really important to us. And I think if people are trusting us with their assets and sizable assets, then actually, that's the theme that runs through what we do. It's always around how can we mitigate risk here? How can we manage this best for these people, for our clients, our people, and so the year warranted.
Just before you go anywhere, we just want to say thank you very much to listening to Freedom Impact Trust. We love your reviews, so please do leave them because it helps other people find us, doesn't it, Curtis?
Yes, it does. As AJ said, comment, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, share it with the entire world. Let everybody know that this is the podcast that you guys are listening to, and jot down some comments of any financial advice that you want or any questions. We'll be happy to answer all of them at the best of our knowledge. Thanks again for listening, guys. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we love you all.
Yeah, we just want to thank our sponsors, Fint, the financial investment app, where you can invest from as little as £50 a month. Yes, Curtis, £50 a month. So easy.
I like it. And don't forget that it's all within 3 portfolios. Simplicity. It's easy. Get investing, guys.
Have a great day.
See you later.